They called him the Quiet Rancher. For 3 years, Callum Reed had worked his land in absolute silence, rising with the sun, eating supper by moonlight, and speaking to no one. It was easier that way. People expected words from a man. Callum had run out of them long ago. But solitude has a sound, the creak of fence posts, the sigh of wind, through dry grass, and that morning another sound cut through it, hoofbeats. When he turned toward the east pasture, a woman on horseback was watching him, perfectly still, perfectly calm, and from that moment, nothing about Callum's life would ever be the same. She didn't belong to the town or the nearby settlements. Her hair was bound in 2 thick braids, dark as river stone, her clothes, trimmed with beadwork that glinted where the sun touched it. Her horse grazed like time itself had stopped. Callum froze with a hammer in one hand, and his breath locked somewhere near his throat. He hadn't spoken to a woman in years, and this one watched him like she already knew every secret he'd buried beneath the dust. Slowly she urged the horse forward until she was close enough for him to see the quiet certainty in her eyes. Then, in a voice steady as the land itself, she said, "I want a child from you." The words hit like thunder on a clear day. No warning, no softness, no reason. The hammer slipped from his fingers. The sound was small, but it felt like the earth moved with it. He could have laughed, could have run, could have demanded explanation, but Callum only stared. The woman tilted her head as if cataloguing his reaction. Then she said quietly, "You live alone, no wife, no kin, you harm nothing, you tend." Her gaze flicked to his hands, rough but careful, before meeting his eyes again. "I've watched you." Those words unsettled him more than the first ones. Watched him? For how long? When she finally dismounted, Callum noticed the small scar that traced her jaw, proof of a life already tested. She stepped close enough that he could smell the smoke in her hair. "You don't need to understand," she said. "You only need to know I've chosen." Then she touched his forearm, a whisper of contact that burned into his skin, and added, "I'll return tomorrow." Before he could find his voice, she was riding away, leaving only the imprint of those impossible words looping in his mind. "I want a child from you." That night, he didn't sleep. The words chased him through every hour until dawn. Was she mad? Was it some test? Some cruel joke? 3 years of loneliness had made him mistake quiet for peace. Now the silence mocked him. By morning, he'd decided. He would tell her no. He would set boundaries, draw lines. But when he stepped outside, intending to reclaim his solitude, she was already there, silhouette, against the rising sun, every argument he'd prepared scattering like dust in the wind. "Your name?" he asked. "Kiona," she answered. And when he finally asked why him, her reply came soft but sure. "Because I watched how you work. You fix what's broken. You feed what's hungry. You treat the wild horses like they belong to no one. And that's respect. My people are fading. I need a child who will carry gentleness into what comes next." She looked away then, her voice thinning. "Most men I've known work angry." Something in him cracked. Nobody had ever studied his goodness. People only saw what it lacked. Before he could answer, movement on the ridge cut their moment short. 3 riders, dust rising at their heels. They were Apache too, older, authority written in every line of their posture. Words flew between them, sharp and fast, a language Callum couldn't follow but felt in his bones. Judgment. The woman leading the trio turned eyes on him like knives. "He's weak," she said in English. "He will not keep you safe." Kiona's voice was ice and flame together. "You think strength is shouting. He shows strength by standing still." The impasse ended not with victory but with exhaustion. When the trio finally rode away, Kiona's shoulders sagged. "They think I'm a fool," she admitted. "Maybe they're right," Callum muttered. Her reply cut through him. "Then prove them wrong." The proving came sooner than either expected. Dark clouds built over the plains, a spring tempest rolling in fast and mean. Kiona pointed at his sagging roof. "When the rain comes, it won't hold." He wanted to argue, but she'd already shouldered the ladder. So he climbed. Each rung trembled beneath his boots. Wind clawed at him, Rain spit warnings, his knuckles white on the hammer, but he kept moving, fists full of terror and resolve. When he drove the last nail home, lightning split the sky. Moments later they were inside, soaked, the roof unbroken, laughter and shivering mingling for the first time. "You were afraid," Kiona said. He nodded. "But you climbed anyway. That's the difference." Outside, thunder still rolled, but inside, something else took root. Near midnight, firelight flickering across the walls, Kiona spoke. "My council arranged another husband. I have until the next full moon to accept or choose my own path." Her eyes glimmered. "That man is all the things they value. Loud, sure, commanding. He'd cage me in kindness until I vanished like my mother did." Silence held. Then Callum whispered, "I won't be that man." "No," she said gently. "You'll be the one who listens." "That's harder." When she finally asked his answer, he thought of 3 years spent numb, of roofs repaired and fears faced. "Yes," he said. It was barely a sound, but it filled the room. The next dawn brought thunder of a different kind, hooves pounding up the ridge. Takakota, the chosen warrior, arrived with his men. Confidence strutted in every breath he took. He mocked Callum's quiet stance, laughed when he shook. But when the punch came, that testing punch inches from his face, Callum didn't flinch. Time froze in that inch of space between fear and impact. And something changed. Takakota's eyes narrowed. Less scorn now, more respect. He spoke low to Kiona and rode away, leaving only the echo of challenge met. Inside, Kiona's voice trembled. He saw it. "You didn't flinch." "I was too scared to move," Callum said. "Exactly," she whispered. "That's courage." Weeks passed. The council returned, not to scold, but to acknowledge. They saw the quiet rancher not as weakness, but as the beginning of something new. An elder placed a beaded bracelet into Kiona's palm. "Courage runs in your blood," the woman said. "Protect not only her body," she told Callum, "but her spirit." Kiona cried, relief, grief, gratitude, and when she reached for Callum, he understood that solitude had never been strength, only armor. Together they looked across the open prairie where storm clouds gathered again on the horizon. Callum smiled. "Let them come," he said softly. "Roofs can be mended. Hearts too." She took his hand, guiding him toward the home they had built from fear, faith, and stubborn hope, a bridge between two worlds. And under that vast sky, the lonely rancher who had once chosen silence whispered the words that had changed everything. "You asked for a child, and you said yes," she answered. The story didn't end there. It began there, when two strangers chose courage over certainty and love stronger than the storms that would surely follow. If you believe that love can start in the most impossible places, share this story. Because sometimes it only takes 6 words to change a quiet life forever. I want a child from you.